Y'all thought we was gone.
We're back. Hey
Hey,
y'all.
insightful gang. Woo woo. We are back in the building.
Yes.
We hope y'all are doing well out there. And for all of those who may be new to joining us and watching us, let us reintroduce ourselves. So I am your girl, Shnequia, aka S.
And I am your girl, Lakesha, aka L.
And together we make insightful conversations with S and L. We are a fun podcast, where we share basically our experiences, our perspective on everything that's going on in pop culture, any type of topics that we feel might be a good topic to discuss. We make sure we talk about it on here. So basically, this is a safe space that we want to create here for everyone.
Correct, cuz.
And while you're watching this, definitely make sure to hit that like button, okay? And go ahead and subscribe to our channel so that way you will never miss an episode. Don't worry, we're going to remind you again at the end of this episode. but for right now, go ahead and do that. And if you don't like to necessarily watch, YouTube videos or whatever, you can also listen to us on all major podcast platforms. Okay. So, Lakesha, how has your week been?
So far, so good. A little bit hectic as far as work is concerned, but that's the norm. That's a-okay. So no complaints on my end. What about yourself?
It's been going well. It's been starting off really well, no complaints. So happy about that. I'm just glad to be here in the number one more time.
Hey, amen to that, cuz. Amen to that.
Yes. Well, do we want to go ahead and get started?
Let's go on and jump right on in.
All right. So we always like to get started with what we call buzzworthy topics. So, Lakesha, what's been buzzworthy in your week?
I would have to say the first thing that comes to mind, for those of you all that's been paying attention to the news, especially recently, probably within the last hour or so, is that we wanted to offer our condolences to the family of Chelsie Kryst, who is the former Mrs. USA. So if you have not heard, she passed on yesterday. And her death at presently is being investigated as a suicide. So once again, like I said, we send our love, we send our support out to her family. She was only 30 years of age, so really, really, really young, really just starting to live life and really fulfill her purpose with her being on the earth. So like I said, that's the first thing that comes to mind as far as breaking news is concerned.
And
What about you?
Yeah, and I wanted to add something about that, if you don't mind. Yeah, because when I first heard about it, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And especially with someone like her who it seems like, you have it all and things like that. It's just a reminder for me to always make sure that you're checking on people. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know like what people are going through behind closed doors. And we are big components of, mental health advocates on this show. And now we have spoken a lot about mental health on previous episodes. So I just want to make sure that, just really reach out to people. You know what I'm saying? And just a smile, a call, a text, whatever have you, that could really brighten someone's day.
Oh yeah. And also make sure that you check on your strong friends. I know a lot of time we have those friends that we check on. They're the go-tos, that we know that they may be having some problems or the issues. They usually come to you when things come up and things like that. But remember the strong friend in your circle. Sometimes for the most part, they don't necessarily, although they do very good at giving advice and being there as a support mechanism. Sometimes it's hard for them to vocalize and or express that they too have problems and or issues. So don't forget about that individual as well. So like Shnequia said, if you haven't checked up on your friends in quite some time, send a text message, reach out, on social media, call them up, y'all plan a breakfast date or something. Because like I said, we're all being affected in some shape, form, or fashion with regards to this pandemic. And so, to me, you can't get enough when it comes to communication and a smile or just to say, hey, I'm just, just want to tell you that I love you, or just want to just show my support for you today. You don't know how far that will go.
Yeah, but that's a very tragic story, because I think I remember reading about, they said that she had left a note for her mom, basically leaving all of her possessions to her. So it's just a very tragic story all around. So sad, and our prayers and condolences go out to her family.
Yes.
And friends and loved ones. Okay. You got anything else that's buzzworthy for you?
I would say if you all have not heard, and I guess because he's part of our generation, Shnequia, guess we need to give a little background or talk about it a little bit. If you have not heard, Nick Cannon is expecting his 8th child. I know for some people that may not necessarily be, news.
Like again, yeah. Canada struck again, basically.
Yes, but yes, he is expecting his 8th child, and so regardless of how we may feel about the situation, I am wishing both him and the mother to be a safe pregnancy.
I am too.
Yeah,
I am too. Nick has always said that he wants a big family.
He did, and he is fulfilling that.
He really is. He literally took that scripture to heart.
Yeah,
be fruitful and multiply. So hey, ain't no judgment here. You know what I'm saying? If you got the means and you feel like this is something that you want to do, then more power to you, buddy. So you think this might be it for him? Or you think he gonna keep going?
I think there may be 1 or 2 more. Who's to say even 3? Like you said, he made that statement that he wants a big family. So only, he will be able to determine, when he has reached a point that he is satisfied with how big, his circle is. So we'll just have to wait and see. Wait and see. What about yourself, cousin? Is there anything in your neck of the woods that's been buzzworthy?
Yes, quite a few. So Ashley, since you were talking about Nick and him expecting another child, we have some other celebrities that are expecting children as well. As y'all know, unless you've been living under a rock, the news broke today that Rihanna is pregnant with her first child from rapper ASAP Rocky. So I am happy for her, because I read that Rihanna has wanted children for some time. And so I'm glad that she was able to fulfill her desire for that. And I'm just wondering now, does this mean that we officially done in terms of her music? Like, would she release another album? I mean, I wanted another album. What you think?
I think that she actually will. I think that
she will.
I think she will. I think we've seen this a lot with a lot of our female artists and things of that nature. I feel like they actually, although don't get me wrong, she has done a phenomenal job. Whether it's been in music or it's been in the beauty business. I really think with her now becoming a mother, I mean, her career is just going to skyrocket as far as creativity and the different avenues that she can, now go down and relate to. With her now being a mom, who's to say that she may venture into the baby industry. So making clothes for babies, skin products, for babies, since she's done such a fabulous job with her Fenty line. So I'm just looking forward to what else she has in store for us. So no, I don't think that this is the last that we're going to see from Rihanna. I just think that she's just going to get better with time and blessing us with the more talents, with the talents and skills that she currently has, and just taking it to another level. What about yourself? What do you think?
Well, like I said, I want her to release some more music because I'm a big Rihanna fan. Because it's been 5 or 6 years since she released her last album. So, I was just hoping that, we get another album for her baby. But I mean, nonetheless, I'm still happy for her. Now, I necessarily wasn't always here for her relationship with ASAP Rocky, but if she's happy, I'm happy. Yeah. So that's all that matters at the end. So congratulations to Riri.
Congratulations, Rihanna.
And there's also breaking news. The rapper the Brat, and her fiance Jesseca Dupart are also expecting a baby. That was breaking news today. So congratulations to them as well. So just all this baby fever. Babies just everywhere.
Well, it's going into the springtime, so that's pretty typical of this time of year.
That's what it is.
Yes. Between babies and weddings and engagement, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be hearing more of this type of news in the weeks and the months to come.
Yeah. And we're still in a pandemic. So
most definitely.
Pandemic babies. I guess it ain't nothing else to do but to have children. So
yes.
But yeah. Okay. So, and then I also have another buzzworthy topic. Janet Jackson documentary. I know you said you ain't seen it yet,
not yet.
But you're gonna have to watch. This was a very well put together documentary. Janet was executive producer along with her brother Randy. And like I said, it's probably one of the best that I've ever seen. I love the fact that Janet was completely vulnerable, completely transparent. And I think those always make the best documentaries. And I like the fact that she basically spoke about her life on her own terms. So nobody was speaking for her, no publicists, whatever have you. This was just her experiences. And it was basically divided up into 4 parts, but it was a 2-night event. So it was 2 parts.
Right.
Night. Like I said, very good. Learned a lot about her previous relationships. She talked about her marriage to her first husband, James DeBarge, as well as her second husband, Renee. I can't think of his last name. And then she also talked about her relationship with Jermaine Dupri. And Jermaine Dupri is being dragged on social media, right?
No, why is that?
Because it was revealed in the documentary that the reason they broke up was because he cheated on her. Oh. So a lot of people are like, well, how you fumbled the bag with someone like Janet Jackson? So, and he admitted that, he cheated on her, and because he was saying that because he was with someone as huge as Janet Jackson, that made the women want him even more. You know what I'm saying?
And I can believe that. Believe that. Yeah. And not saying that he was right for what, he did. I'm glad that he's owned up to it. And just listening to you talk, it seems as though, him and Janet are cordial.
Yeah.
Regarding the situation. He's moved on with his life, and so has she.
Yeah, they're still really good friends. And she talked a lot about, stepping away from, her dad as her manager and just kind of taking control into her career. Because I didn't even know that she had like 2 albums prior to her Control album. Like, exactly. Because, I guess you can say that those first 2 albums were like flops.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't really until she got with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the producers, and created Control, where that really like catapulted her to, superstardom.
Yeah.
And, she talked a lot about, of course, had to bring up Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, because, that's how it all got started.
Yeah.
And she was just saying about, her relationship with Michael. And she was talking about how, there had been a little bit of a shift in their relationship starting around like the Thriller era because, that's when he became such a huge, massive superstar and things like that. And then, he had his own personal struggles that he was dealing with, like the child molestation charges and all of that. So she was saying a lot about how, because of that, what happened to him, that kind of made her guilty by association, because she actually lost some money.
Wow.
Because of that, like, she was supposed to do a Coca-Cola commercial. She was going to be a spokesperson for them. And because of the 1993 allegations that came up with Michael, they basically cut ties with her. Yes. So she lost money. Yeah.
Wow, that's not fair.
Guilty by association. So, yeah. And then she talked a lot about the Super Bowl incident, and she was saying that she was actually the one who told Justin Timberlake to not release a statement about the situation. I know, like, a lot of stuff was revealed. A lot of stuff. Because, people was going in on him because of
that. I remember that. He caught a lot of flack behind that.
Yeah, and she basically was saying, her and Justin are good, like, they're good friends, please, like, just leave this alone.
Right.
Basically, so. Yeah, but needless to say, it was a very, very good documentary. So you should definitely check it out, Keisha.
I will definitely check it out. Like I said, I've been meaning to, but every time that I see it, or like I said, I get some free time to myself, it's usually like in the middle of that first episode. And it's just like, if I can't watch it from the beginning to the end, I don't want to come in the middle because I don't want to miss anything. So I'm definitely going to make sure at least by the end of this week that I do so, because like I said, it's definitely been coming on. So to catch up with it. And Janet was such a huge star, as we were growing up. I mean, I remember Control, the black pants, yes, everybody wanted to be Janet, the baseball cap, the ponytail. You couldn't tell us nothing back then. So yeah, she's an icon. She is a legend. And that's why we have the artists, like Sierra, is always giving Janet props. Oh yeah, most definitely. So I'm definitely gonna have to do my homework and sit myself down at some point of this week and watch both of those.
Yeah.
Episodes.
And you'll love this too, because she also talked about poetic justice too, and her experience being a Tupac. Okay. Like, she showed clips of the behind the scenes. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
Okay.
It made me appreciate Janet that much more, and I was already such a big fan of her.
Yeah,
so I was here for it. All right. Well, that was all I had for Buzzworthy Topics. Did you have anything else?
Nothing else from me.
All right. So, moving on, we can go ahead and get into our episode, which is When Is Soon Too Soon? So, let's give a little bit of background, shall we, on how this came about. Okay, so this episode is actually inspired by Miss Lanithia Monique Leakes from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She used to be on there. And Lakeisha and I was talking about this one day when we were just kind of developing this episode. And we were talking about how, Nene lost her husband, Greg Leakes. I think it was in September of last year. He passed away from cancer. And, within a few months, Nene's already publicly in a new relationship. And a lot of people had issues with that on social media. Like, she literally was getting dragged for that. Some people were saying, how dare you? And Greg ain't even been in the ground cold long enough for you to already, be done moved on with somebody else. Or, this guy was already in the picture before Greg even died. All kinds of theories and stuff like that. So it kind of made me and Lakeisha kind of have a discussion about, okay, well, when is soon too soon to move on in a relationship, to a new relationship? So that's kind of where this came about. So I think we can kind of start off with that question. That's kind of open-ended, but when is soon too soon? What do you think?
In my personal opinion, it really boils down to the individual. Everybody has their own belief system. Everybody has their own way of moving on. from a relationship, whether that relationship ends in a physical death, it ends just from the two individuals, going their separate ways and moving on with their lives respectively, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, to me, how I would move on from a relationship and the time and the effort that I would put in, to make sure that I am as healed as can be or as healed as possible before bringing somebody else into my personal space may be very totally different when it comes to the next person. And so I think that's something that we have to look into. A lot of times I believe that, as individuals, me and my mother was actually having this conversation earlier today, especially for those of us who are empaths. We feel, everything that we do, we feel, we're very intuitive. We take everything in. And a lot of times we have this mentality that, or if it was me, I wouldn't necessarily behave in this manner. Or if it was me, I wouldn't have necessarily done this. Or if it was me, I would have done that. Once again, the key word is you. You are not everybody. Each and every person is different. So once again, it boils down to the individual. Maybe Nene felt that she was ready to move on with her life. For those of you all who follow her, she said many times, not only in the television shows when she was, doing blogs and vlogs and things of that nature. She said on countless occasions that both her and Greg had conversations about him encouraging, him supporting her in moving on with her life. He didn't want her to be this old, widow just wallowing in pain and sorrow. He wanted her to live a life that was full of happiness, love, peace, prosperity. And so, I can only imagine, what her and her sons and the rest of the family was going through during those final days, those final time periods with Greg. But at the same time, like I said, how she choose to handle a situation may not necessarily be the way that you or I would have handled it, but it's okay. If she felt like, she had peace regarding the passing of her husband, that she had done whatever inner work that she needed to do in order to move on with her life, then who am I to sit up here and say, or to chastise you like this is too fast? Because once again, we don't know what kind of conversations, what kind of dialogues, what type of preparation was going on behind closed doors with both her and her late husband. How about yourself, cuz?
I agree. And I'm glad that you brought that up. You brought out some great points because we don't know what their conversation was like. And I think a lot of times people, when they're looking at something, especially on social media, you don't know the actual person's life. You don't know what
Right.
conversations was had. You don't know anything. You're just seeing
Right.
this picture of her with this guy. You know what I'm saying? I know what part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I was kind of like, well, why do we even care? You know what I'm saying? Like what other people are doing in their bedrooms, without their bedrooms, whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this relevant to your life? You
Right.
know, that's always the first thing that I think about. Now, like, am I gonna judge Nene? No. I'm not going to judge her or anybody else that moves on like that because, that's their life to live.
Right.
Now, me personally, I don't think, and this is just my personal opinion, this is Shnequia, this is S's opinion. I don't think that I could move on that quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially if this is someone who has basically been my soulmate. We've been together for like all of these years. I just don't think that I could move on that quickly. Now, I'm not saying that I would never move on again because I know that I would want to find love again
Right.
eventually. But I just know for me, within a few months, no, I wouldn't be ready to move on. And I definitely wouldn't put it on social media either. And I think that might be part of the issue. I'm just guessing. That might be part of the issue that maybe people had with Nene because it was on social media. Maybe I don't think people would have cared too much if, she had been private
right
about it. But then you also have to think about Nene as a public person. Anyway.
She is.
She's an open book, so she's going to share stuff about her life, regardless if you like it or not.
Right.
But like I said, for me, it's just more like, why is this so much an issue about what other people are doing in terms of like their relationships? Like, what is this doing for you? Just because you wouldn't do it, that doesn't mean that gives you the right to bash someone else and tell them what they need to do. That's just how I feel about it.
Exactly. And I'm of the same opinion as you, cuz I necessarily, even when I think back to past relationships, I've never necessarily moved on that quickly. I'll be honest with you, it usually takes me a good year or two, just because it's especially depending upon the depth of the relationship, you know. And I'm really big on, I I am of the belief I don't like to carry baggage into the next relationship. And so I do a lot of self-reflecting. I've got involved in therapy. At one point I had a life coach, and things of that nature. Because like I said, my whole thing in moving forward, I want to be and also present the best version of myself. And so, like I said, for some people, hey, that could be a couple of weeks, a month for you. And like I said, for me, it took some time for me to get there, to get prepared. Like, hey, I'm now ready to date and present myself in these type of situations and things like that. But I don't have necessarily time to get involved in people's lives. I think social media is a great tool. But like I said, we all know once you put it out there, you know, you also open yourself up to the opinions of what other people are going to say and or think about you. So that's just my spiel on it. You got any other commentary?
No, I mean, no, I agree with that. And even because I know we were talking about, just moving past Nene for a minute, we were also just talking about, you know, I think the pedestal that a lot of people have celebrity relationships on. Because remember when we were talking about when the news broke of Megan Good and Devon Franklin divorcing? And we were just talking about how, you know, so many people were so shocked by that. And some people wasn't, because they felt like they were unequally yoked and stuff like that. But I know for me personally, I was kind of like shocked. And only because to me, it seemed like they had a pretty good united front, at least from what I could see, from what they portrayed to everyone.
Gotcha.
And yes, I knew that they were from two different worlds, but most people are that come together in relationships. And so I was really rooting for them, because I thought that, you know, this was a perfect example of when opposites attract. Because you've heard that saying before. Yeah. And so that's what I was thinking was going on here. But then if you kind of like really look at their marriage, you could kind of see that they probably wasn't going to maybe last that
and
long.
I'm glad, cousin, that you brought up that point, that at the end of the day, all those these individuals, they're celebrities, they're in the limelight. You know, we see what they're wearing, we see where, you know, where they're going to go eat, where they're working out at, you know, their next big project. We all need to remember, at the end of the day, they're also people. You know, they have lives too, they have flaws, they make mistakes. You know, I guess the unfortunate part about that is a lot of time when those mistakes happen, or even when the good stuff happens in their lives, it's just broadcast to millions upon millions upon millions of people, and things like that. And like I said, that's one of the pros that social media has afforded us, but also that's also the con that comes when things start to disintegrate, you know, in our lives and things like that. So I wasn't necessarily shocked about Megan Good and Devon. I really wasn't shocked, you know, when the news broke about Nene and her boyfriend. Because like I said, I'm one of these people, like, as much as there are celebrities that I admire and I look up to, I'm at a point in my life, like, I never put them on a pedestal. There was a time that I did. And I would admonish and look up and be like, oh, I want to be like X, Y, and Z. But once again, and you made that point, we can look good together on paper. We can look great together in public, on social media, when we're at these galas and these banquets and these balls and so on and so forth. But once again, all hell could be breaking loose behind closed doors. So we have to be careful who we sit up here and we admire, who we look up to, because you don't know what type of demons what type of battles they may be fighting when they are behind closed doors and things like that. So, and this to me could even apply to Megan and her husband. And I think a lot of people, I don't even think I know a lot of people are looking at that too. Like, when are we going to hear about her, new man, or are we ever going to hear about Devon being in a new relationship and things like that? And people just need to remember, at the end of the day, celebrities are people, y'all. They have lives. They have things, they have families, they want those private moments as well. And so when people are going through some really difficult times, put yourself in their position. And like I said, just be mindful of that. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, and those are great points, because like you said, people do like put these celebrities on pedestals, and they forget that they're humans, and they're basically going through what the average person goes through. They're just going through it in front of the camera. In front of a lens. You know what I'm saying? They're just showing their stuff on a public display where we wouldn't necessarily do that.
Right.
But then again, there are times where, common folk will put stuff on social media and perceive and portray, like, oh yeah, we're relationship goals and all of this stuff like that. And then, they're constantly posting pictures about the people going on vacations and all these gifts that they've gotten each other and all that stuff like that. And next thing you know, the pictures stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't see anything else, and you're wondering like, well, what happened? I was invested in y'all when y'all was together. I mean, please, like, let us in. You put it out there before for everybody else. Like, let's put your breakup out there too. But like, people aren't necessarily doing that. And I always just wonder, like, what is the reason that people feel like that they have to share so much when it comes to like their relationships on social media? Is it more just for, I don't know, validation purposes? I mean, it could be all type of things.
Right.
But I know, like, I probably would be the type that I would be private.
You'll be private?
Yeah, because like you were saying before, whatever you're posting, you're giving people opportunity to kind of like really give feedback, whether it's unsolicited or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just know, like, I don't necessarily want to put myself in a situation like that, because I know, like, I would want to go in on the people. Like, I kind of would probably be like Cardi B, a little bit how she be doing, like, kind of like going back, and I'm just not trying to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I would probably be a little bit private. Like, you probably wouldn't know unless I was married.
Yeah. I would probably be the exact same way. I am very, very proud. People ask me all the time, like, you post very randomly, like, probably like a couple of times out the year. And there's a reason why I do that. My whole thing is, if you really want to get to know me for me, there's a phone, there's DMs, there's text messages. We can come and hang out. That type of thing, because we all know on social media, you can be who it is that you want to be. And so, like I said, we got to get out of this fantasy world thinking that these celebrities and influencers are out here doing it big. Some of them are, but once again, some of them are. I mean, look at the case with the former Mrs. USA. We could use her as an example. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have thought, at 30 years old that that her family would be facing a situation that she could have possibly taken her own life, and dealing, with that process and what all of that may bring on for their family and things like that. So, I say privacy is key. I don't see anything with you all, I don't see anything wrong with you sharing like key things about what's going on in your life and things of that nature. But, taking, 6 and 12 and 10, selfies a day and things like that, I don't necessarily see myself doing it. But like I said, I'm not nobody else, because once again, you are you and I am me. But just know that whether you post once or you post multiple times a day, people are going to have something to say. And if you are the type of person, that you can't handle the criticism that may come along with it, then, social media may not necessarily be your thing. You may need to look into other avenues. And things like that. What I wanted to ask you, cuz, is when it comes to a relationship and when a relationship ends, like I said, whether that relationship ends because, due to death, it ends, just because, y'all just break up, that person ghosted you, and so on and so forth. What are some ways you believe, or that you can think of, to help somebody to get through that difficult time in their life?
Well, I think that's a great question, by the way. I think the first thing to do is to really kind of like learn from the relationship, because I'm a big component on like self-reflection and like, what went wrong, what went right, or whatever, because I think that's important to help you not only for healing, but also to really see like, okay, well, what don't I want in the future when I get ready to decide to pursue another relationship?
I like that.
Keyword ready to pursue. Okay, we gonna go back to that in a minute. But yeah, just really like, well, was it really the other person's fault, or did I have a role in this too? Because we're so quick to point the finger at the other person, but we don't necessarily talk about the role that we played, because it takes two people to end a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Even if someone was unfaithful in the relationship, you made the choice to end it, whether or not you want to stay in it. But most of the time, you might end the relationship. That was a choice to do that. Right. So I would just definitely just say, making sure that you really learned from that and really, really heal. And when I say heal, I mean heal. Like you had brought up a great point. You said that, you had went to therapy. You know what I'm saying? You had a life coach and stuff. Like really look at the belief systems and the patterns that you had in these relationships. Because see, what happens is, if you don't reflect in these areas and properly heal, all you're going to do is bring the same baggage into a new relationship, and the cycle will continue. It will continue, and you don't want that. Because I'm a firm believer that God definitely gives you tests, and at some point he wants you to pass the test. And if you don't pass, you're going to continue to get the same type of situation. It'll be a different thing, but it's the same type of outcome. And that's because you didn't properly heal and get what you were supposed to get out of it. So I think that that's really my big thing. And also just making sure that your self-worth is intact. Because I see a lot of times where people rush into relationships. Remember when I talked about ready? I see a lot of people rush into relationships when they're clearly not ready to be in a new relationship, but they're doing it because they don't want to be alone. They're feeling depressed or whatever. They feel like they can't be on their own. Like I can't function without being with someone. And that really saddens me, because I'm wondering, well, why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like you have to have someone to complete you? Like, I hate that movie, whatever that movie was. Not the movie I don't hate, but that part of the movie where they're talking about I complete you. Was it Jerry Maguire or something like that? I can't remember what movie it was. It was a movie from the 90s. I know. And that was one of the things that the girl said to the guy. Was like, you complete me and all this stuff. No, nobody can complete.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not their job.
That's not their job.
That's not their job. No. And I'm not saying that when you get in a relationship that you're gonna always be well put together and stuff like that, and you won't have flaws and things like that. You're gonna have those, but nobody wants somebody that's not whole.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just put that out there. You got to be whole, and that's why it's so important to really heal.
Yeah.
Because like and knowing, like I said, when you're ready to be in a relationship, because if you're not ready, you're not ready to be in a relationship if you constantly still thinking about your ex and you comparing the new person to your ex. 9 times out of 10 you're not ready,
Or you're bashing
right?
now in the new relationship that you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so figure out, like, I think if you are ready to date, figure out what's your motive behind it. Am I doing this because I know in my heart of hearts that I am ready wholeheartedly to be with someone else, or is it because I'm trying to seek validation? Did I answer your question?
That answered my question, because you did a great job. Yes,
because I know I can go on a tangent about that, but so and I can speak from prior experience too. I mean, because I've kind of dealt with that too, But the older I get, the more I realize self-reflection is key. You got to know the part that you play.
It's key. And even another component of that, Shnequia, with the self-reflective piece, for some of us, you may not even just the self-reflecting, you looking at yourself, you may have to start having conversations even with your family.
Yeah.
To see if this is something that has affected the women in your family. Is this something that has affected the men in your family? And things of that nature. Because like I said, this thing could possibly be a generational curse as well. So you've got to be ready to have those conversations. I know with our generation, we didn't really question our mom and dad, about a lot of stuff. When they said do something, you did it. And you didn't really ask them, no tough questions. But now, like, Shnequia, like you're saying, we're older. We're maturing. We're trying to better ourselves. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with sitting mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, granddaddy down if you have some questions and concerns about things that that you're going through in your life, and wanting to know, does this thing go deeper than just me? So that can also be part of your growth, your strength, your healing journey as well.
I agree with that, but then I think you also have to keep in mind whether or not, okay, because we're going about generational curses and looking at patterns and stuff, if those family members would even know, what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is because a lot of times they might have experienced the same type of situation because that's what they grew up in and that's what they witnessed, and that's what was modeled to them. So I just want to make sure that, when you are getting that feedback or asking for that feedback, it's from people that's healthy too.
Most definitely.
If that makes sense. Like, because sometimes, our family can not give us good advice too.
Yeah.
About stuff. So yeah.
I agree. I agree.
So that's kind of important too. But I feel you. I feel you. Definitely the feedback, but just make sure that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so I don't know. Like, for me, I just don't necessarily think that there is a time limit on when soon is too soon. Correct. I just think that it's just a matter of knowing when you, the individual, are just ready.
That's what it boils down to.
And I really feel like we just gotta stop judging people about the decision that they make that don't have nothing to do with you. Yeah. Like, I mean, like I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
Like, just stop. Like, again, my initial question that I asked at the beginning of this episode, like, why are you so invested in this? Like, what does this do for you?
Yeah.
Really ask yourself. That's part of self-reflection, please. Like, really, like, what does this do?
Yeah.
For you? Like, why do you care so much?
Yeah.
Maybe if I put this energy in myself that I have towards other people that don't have nothing to do with me, then, you know, maybe I can, you know, live the
Yeah.
kind of life that I want to live.
Yeah.
Just
Most
saying.
definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. And once again, just like you have a life, they have a life. Just like you have, you know, triumphs, so do they. And just like sometimes, you know, at some point in lives, we wade through waters, we got to fight some battles, we run into some obstacles and some hurdles. Same thing with these celebrities. And so I'm just, like I said, I try for the most part to think in that shape, form, or fashion. You know, if it was me, how would I want to be treated? So,
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, when I was telling you about how some people, including myself, was, you know, kind of shocked about the Megan and Devon, you know, ending of their marriage. I'm just wondering, like, would people feel the same way, like if Sierra and Russell ever broke up? You know what I'm saying? Like, because their relationship goals too.
yeah, for some people, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
but I feel like just don't make people your relationship goals.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you do that, you just get disappointed because, again, you don't know like what these people are dealing with behind the scenes. You don't know what it took for them to get to this
There,
relationship,
exactly.
like what experiences that they had. You know, it's just a lot of different layers that we don't necessarily know.
You right, cuz.
What's going on.
You right.
I mean, and who came up with that term anyway? Relationship goals.
That I don't
Where
know.
that come from?
I don't know.
How about I be a relationship goal with myself?
Hey.
You know, no, I'm just saying. No, I mean, like, yeah, like let me love on myself. Let me love on all of these natural curls and whatnot, and you know, just everything.
Everything that encompasses and makes you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just do that. Then that way, I can be whole.
Yeah.
For the person that I'm supposed to be with.
Most definitely.
And I won't be looking to them to validate my existence in this world. I'm preaching to somebody. I am. God told me to say that. So I mean, you know, for real. Don't do relationship goals. Just don't put that pressure on celebrities either.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be pressure. Not just on them, but just like people in
just
general.
Anybody, because you don't necessarily have to be looking up to a celebrity. Maybe it's somebody in your family, maybe it's a colleague, you know, a dear friend of yours. Like I said, at the end of the day, people, we're flawed individuals, so we are going to disappoint somebody either at some point or another, even ourselves. So take that pressure off of yourself. Give yourself grace. You got to give yourself grace. Or like you said, Shnequia, you're going to kind of be in this up and down, you know, type of scenario moving forward in life, because your life is based around what other people got going on, what other people are doing, or what they got to say. And that's not a life filled with purpose. That's not the type of life that you want to live. You should live life on your own terms, and not necessarily because you're sitting up here looking and wanting to be like somebody else.
Yes, and you know, great point, because again, I think that kind of goes back to the whole like knowing when you're ready and what's your motives for being in relationships, because a lot of times we do compare ourselves to other people, and I know why, because I've done that before. And you feel like, okay, well, this person is married and, you know, in relationships, or they're engaged, you know, and especially if you're of a certain age, and you feel like, well, I should be this way too, and this is where I should be, and, you know, and you're not there. So you kind of feel like, okay, well, the next person that talked to me, I'm about to, you know, I'm going to talk to them regardless if they bad for me or not. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that they're here and they're showing me some attention, and some affection. But you know, again, it's just going back to just really loving on yourself,
Yeah.
And I think this is a great time to have this conversation, especially with
Valentine's Day
coming up.
yeah.
And, that's another day where people be in their feelings and stuff. And rightfully so, especially if you're single, it can be very hard for people. But, I think it's just more about redefining what it is in terms of like how you want to celebrate Valentine's Day and what that means and all that stuff like that. Because you can be your own Valentine,
Right.
You can be, your friend can be a Valentine. Galentine's Day, I think that's what they call it for girls, girlfriends and stuff. A family member can be a Valentine, your parents, whatever. I mean, like, there's just so many ways that you can redefine it and really take your own ownership of what it is, and not necessarily let society tell you, like, okay, well, if I'm not with somebody, that means something wrong with me,
right,
or whatever. But I know that was kind of a side tangent, but but I feel like it kind of relates in a little bit. But so just really make sure that you're really identifying patterns that you got going on, so you won't be taking those patterns into new relationships. What else you got, cuz? What you think?
That is it for me. I think we just about summed up and talked about and hit on as many bullet points as we can when it comes to, a time frame that's appropriate for somebody to move on.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we collectively agree that there is no time frame.
There is no time frame. You get to determine that on your own.
And only you.
Only you.
And only you. Don't listen to the trolls on social media or whatever.
Trolls, you don't necessarily have to listen to family,
right?
Friends. Like I said, at the end of the day, you know you. And if you feel like, hey, you ready to move on in a week, you ready to move on in a couple of months, hey, for some women, it's taking them years, and men, to get past the ending of a relationship. And once again, that's A-okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. It is. Very much so. So we over here at Insightful Conversations with SNL, we don't judge. We want people to live the lives that make them happy at the end of the day. So that's what's most important, because it's your life, not ours.
Exactly.
So I think that's what our summary is. So we are at the point of the episode where we're getting close to winding down towards the end. And one of the ways that, for any people that are new watching us, we always believe in ending our episodes with some type of insightful moment, whether it's either Lakesha and I coming up with something, or someone sends us an insightful moment. And basically what that is basically some type of inspirational quote, a song lyric, it could be a Bible scripture, a poem, like whatever have you, something that you basically can share that gives you inspiration. And we actually have an insightful moment, Lakesha. Okay. I'm going to read it. It's from Shari. And it's basically, you'll love this one, Lakesha. It is a Bible scripture. It's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. You know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll read it. Love is patient.
Oh.
Love is kind. It does not envy. Mm-mm. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. Perseveres, excuse me. Love perseveres. Love never fails.
I love that. Thank
you, Shari, for submitting that. Shari is one of my really good friends, so she wanted to share that. So, and that really sums up, I think, what we talked about, because I always love that scripture because it really does talk about what love. I think that's like a true definition
That is.
of
That
like what
is.
love is, because it's
You
all of
don't know
those
what
things.
love is. That sums it up right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I really do believe if we're going back and referencing Nene and Greg's marriage, they embodied that love, whether you agree with it or not. If you would have done things totally different, at the end of the day, it worked for them, you know. And so all we can do, like I said, is I hope and pray that Nene, as she is moving forward, throughout her life, that she makes the best decision possible for her. I'm pretty sure that Greg doesn't always have a very special place in her heart. She will never ever forget about her marriage and the many memories that both her and Greg created together. But for those of us who have watched her, her life kind of play out on the show, if you don't know anything about Nene, we all know that at the end of the day, Greg loved his wife,
It sure
and he and
did.
he wanted what was best for Nene. He really, really, really did. And so I just hope and pray that she finds the happiness and the joy, the love, and the peace that she and her family are deserving of. And I'm wishing her well. I'm wishing her well in her romantic life, in her professional endeavors, and even when it comes to her personal endeavors as well.
Yeah. I mean, she seems very happy with this guy
Yeah.
that she's with now. I don't know his name, but I follow her on Instagram, and she does post him a lot in her stories, her
Okay.
Insta stories. So she seems very happy. So
Good for
at
her.
the end of the day, I say do her,
Do her.
do her, and
Yeah.
live your life. And you also got to think about, I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but the fact that Nene is of a certain age,
Yeah.
so that might have had something to do with it too.
Most definitely.
Because I think she's in her 50s, so she probably like, I'm not trying to sit here and wait around because I don't know how much longer I might be here, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
so she did what was best for her.
For her.
Yeah. So we hope that you enjoyed that insightful moment that was shared. You too can submit an insightful moment if you would like. Basically, make sure that you like and follow Insightful Conversations with SNL on our Facebook page and on Instagram. Our username on Instagram is at Insight Combo WSL. And also, please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So remember, I told you in the beginning that I was going to remind you again. So we remind you again now. So go ahead, if you haven't already done so, like this video, subscribe to our channel, share it, tell a friend. Also, you can leave a comment. Actually, we want you to leave a comment because we talked a lot in this episode, but we want to hear from you about like what your thoughts are on the topic in terms of when too soon is too soon. And also for those that like to email us, we do have an email address. You can
Yes.
email us at insightfulconversations37@gmail.com. And we like to hear from you. So if you want to like share any feedback with us, give us, ideas on potential topics for this season, feel free to share. Or like I said, insightful moment, feel free to do so. And again, for all of those who don't necessarily want to watch videos or don't like watching videos, no excuse. You can follow us on all major podcast platforms. You can listen to us while you're driving, while you're in your car, while you're at work, whatever have you. We got you covered, okay? So, do you have anything, Lakeisha? Anything else?
Nothing else.
All right. Well, until next time, we hope that you all stay blessed, love each other, be safe out there because COVID's still out there in these streets. So, but y'all take care and y'all be blessed for real, okay? And just live your life, okay? All right, till the next time. Peace.
Bye.